Yeah. Sorry it took a while. Work was hell.
Well, hopefully it was worth the wait.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You're being more nice.
Well, to be honest, you've opened my eyes a little bit. You've shown me that this entire world is not just full of death and despair.
Why the emphasis on those words?
No need to worry. That just comes natural.
So, I just want to make sure, did you really steal this?
Yes. My explanations remain the same as before.
Well, I've done some thinking, and I haven't seen this movie in like over a year. So in all reality, when was the last time you've seen this movie?
I'll be honest. It's been about the same time for me as well.
And this is your favorite movie?
Yes. Along with Oculus, Covenant, Alien Covenant, if you don't know, and the Jeepers Creepers trilogy.
So if you're not from this world, then how are you able to watch movies made in this world, like this universe?
Cable TV. Duh.
Wait a second, there's cable TV in your universe?
We're not that demonic.
Well, let's get this over with. Hello everyone, this is MykeCheck'd 95, and I would introduce Billy, but he has vanished again. He really needs to stop doing that. I mean, he was sitting here the whole time, watching this movie, and now he's gone. He'll probably pop up in the outro like always. But this is MykeCheck'd 95 with another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review, and yes, you guessed it, it is now time, finally, for the Brightburn review. Brightburn was directed by David Yarovesky, produced by James Gunn and Kenneth Huang, and written by Brian and Mark Gunn. Brian is the brother of James, and Mark is the cousin of James. So we had a whole lot of the Gunn family in this film. And as you know, I have my notes right here. I'll try to keep it short and sweet in this review, because I've noticed my reviews have been cutting into the almost hour limit, so I'll try to keep this short and sweet. The plot of the film is this. The Breyer family has a miracle fall from the sky, while they fail to produce a child on their own. The miracle from the sky was an infant crash landing in a spaceship in the woods near their home. They raised the infant, now named Brandon, as their own son. But as he gets to the age of 12, when he starts puberty, things aren't what they seem as the crashed spaceship they stored away to hide from Brandon calls to him to serve his purpose, take the world. Pretty much a twisted version of a Superman origin story if Superman were to turn bad in the very beginning. It was set in the small town of Brightburn, Kansas. Probably a fictional town, but who knows, I didn't really research this. More than likely it's a fictional town. The acting was pretty good and pretty convincing throughout the film, just to see the citizens of Brightburn to slowly realize the abilities, or like the small group of people, I say citizens, but I mean the small group of people that surround Brandon. They realize the abilities of Brandon and what he's capable of, and they fear for him because, you know, he's not a normal human being. He is from some other world of some sort, since he crashed on that spaceship. And you know what? I'd be scared shitless too if I saw a 12-year-old child able to manhandle a full-grown adult like he's nothing. And all that shit. Acting was really good for the most part. There was a couple of shoddy spots here and there that seemed a little iffy. Nothing really too bad to nag about. But overall, pretty convincing and really good. The kills in the film. They were actually pretty good for the most part. I haven't seen this film in over a year, and I remember a couple parts in the movie from sitting in theaters. CGI for most of the kills were actually really good. On a side note, I'd like to say that some of the cringiest moments, in a good way, were actually really good as well. Especially when the waitress, Erica, had to pull that shard of glass out of her eye, which oh man, I think my eye started like twitching and making it feel like there was something in my eye when that moment was happening, and it's still freaking happening right now. And the other cringy good moment was when Noah, the uncle, I think he was the uncle, had his jaw broken by the steering wheel when his car was dropped nose first onto the ground, and his jaw went straight into the steering wheel, pretty much almost ripping it off. That was actually done really well, I would say. The only really silly part I would say when it came to the kills is when the mom, Tori, found Erica's body in the barn next to the spaceship. It looked like a rubber body, and I feel like they could have done a lot better with that, but that was honestly the only really big glaring part that I wish was done better, instead of showing Eka, you know, a rubber test dummy cut open with like anatomy and whatnot, and that's a bad cringe. But besides that, here and there, yeah, like the kills were good, and for a first film, they were actually really good. Speaking of the CGI, I touched base on it earlier in the kills and whatnot. There was one spot in the film where the blood effect for CGI when the female officer was killed, it looked a little bit overdone, not really convincing in a real world atmosphere. It looked like it was actually computer generated on a computer. And I mean, that's the only really bad CGI spot I saw from my second viewing of this. I mean, for the most part, like the glass in the eye and the broken jaw, they really were done very well, and they were very convincing in this movie. And I said the only really bad spots when it came to the kills and the CGI was, like I said, that rubber body and one little blood spill in the very end of the film. Now, the pacing in the film, for the most part, it seemed like the time span of the movie took about a week. There was one scene in the middle of the film where I kind of thought was thrown in there at random. It was the nightmare sequence showing the father and mother, I think Tori and Kyle, finding the spaceship in the woods, and it's actually like a nightmare sequence for Kyle. I honestly would have not done that nightmare sequence in the middle of the film. In fact, I would have taken that scene, got rid of all the nightmarish sequences, and added it to the intro, because the intro kind of just cut to them showing the spaceship out in the woods in the distance, and then went straight to the footage montage of Brian as a child. I would actually, honestly, I'd actually get rid of the montage and replace it with the Tori and Kyle finding the spaceship in the woods and getting a reaction to them finding an infant in a spaceship, and what their initial feelings are and what they're going to do with the found child in the spaceship. That I feel like would have been a lot better, and it would have honestly beefed up the intro a bit more. But I mean, I guess the nightmare sequence was alright. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was a little overdone, but it was okay. Just get rid of the nightmarish parts and add it to the very beginning after they see the spaceship in the woods, just to show their reaction and their emotions to finding the infant in the spaceship. That would have been a lot better, I would say. One thing I want to point out with Brandon and him getting his powers and whatnot, and this also kind of goes with the fact of the whole time span thing being in a whole week. I kind of feel like Brandon was able to customize to his newly, I guess, found powers when he hit puberty too quick for like in a week. I kind of feel like that he should have had more difficulty getting used to them as they're all just slamming him in the face, and put more time into it. I mean, that would have made a longer film. That's just something I feel like the Man of Steel, I feel like that film did it a lot better than Brightburn, where it actually showed Clark Kent actually having difficulty getting used to normal life on Earth, and all the different like things going on in the atmosphere on the Earth is very different to his body, since he's from a different planet, and of course Brandon's from a different planet, and he just somehow got powers like that within like 3 days. And I just kind of felt like they were just handed to him. That was a little not convincing. Like I said, I feel like he would have had a bit more difficulty getting used to the atmosphere and becoming more customized to how the Earth is and its atmosphere. It just didn't really seem realistic in the film. It still told the story it needed to be told. It's just, I would have changed that too. Speaking of him coming from another planet, there was really no explanation where Brandon came from. It's just kind of like, boom, he's here and he's on Earth, and this is what happens when he's on Earth. I think a lot of people would agree with me that they would like to know where Brandon came from, what planet he's from, like what race he is. It might be something that they will probably do in a sequel, which as of June 2019, it is in the talks and the works, but James Gunn is busy as of June 2019 with Suicide Squad and his Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So there is a sequel in the works, but it's kind of on the back burner for now. So hopefully when they do get to that sequel, so they're able to actually explain where he's from and like show what planet he's from instead of just, oh, he's here. Another side note is that the actor who played Brandon said he would like to reprise his role as Brandon Breyer in a future sequel, so he's definitely open for that, and that's actually really cool because the actor for Brandon Breyer did really good in the movie. He was very convincing as a confused child, and then a child that's confused when he realizes that he's a higher being, a superior being, and he's pretty much able to do whatever the hell he wants, and whenever people piss him off, he can just off them. He did really good portraying that, and I would like to see him come back and reprise his role as Brandon Breyer. Another thing I want to bring up is the end credits scene, I guess the so-called end credits scene with the news reporter. It was very interesting. It's also something that they can work into another sequel, kind of like James Gunn's mock version of a Dark Justice League. That was actually very interesting and intriguing, I would say too. It's kind of showing the DC characters like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, but they're not the heroes, they're the villains, so it would be very interesting to see more of those, or origin movies for those characters, and then kind of just bring them all together. It's just kind of a cool thing that they could touch base on in the next film, but we're just going to have to wait and see when that comes out. Overall, I would say that, although it was a bit shaky in some spots with the story, I would switch a couple things around, a couple tiny CGI goofs, and of course the rubber body they found in the barn. I still think it was a decent enough watch to call it good. Honestly, I would say it's this close to being a great movie, and I would recommend it to a lot of horror fans and a lot of fans to Superman, because this is actually a very interesting take to the Superman origin story, and I definitely would want to see where it goes from there. I would also give it a 7.3 out of 10 as a rating. So it's still a good movie, and I wouldn't pass it up if I happened to feel like watching it again. Just a couple things here and there that I would change, and a couple things that I would do different, but overall it was a pretty decent film. So folks, what are your thoughts on Brightburn? Did you guys enjoy the movie? Did you guys actually hate the movie? I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below or on my social media. Now, I gave you a hint in my last review as to what film that I was doing, so here's the hint again. Did you get it yet? Hopefully that new hint with a little added oomph to it gave you more of an idea that I want what I'm going to do. But until then, it'll be the next video when you find out what movie I'm going to be doing next. And it's honestly going to be another series, but it's only going to be 2 films. So I can just do these 2 films and then jump back to the main series I'm trying to get done this Friday the 13th, which will be part 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you'll enjoy more videos to come. This is MykeCheck'd95 with another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review. Signing out. Now where the hell is Billy? Where did you go? I figured that you'd do the review with me, but you just disappeared.
I wanted to see how you did. And you did disappoint. Well, maybe a little.
Was it the rating?
I would have rated it just a little higher.
You saw that rubber dummy. I know full damn well that either you or me could do something that's a bit more convincing than that.
Still, I would have said 1.5.
So you're telling me that you ignored it?
No, I saw it. But even if you did rate it lower than I thought you would, you still passed.
Does this mean that you're going to be going away now?
I did say that I would leave if you passed the Brightburn review. But I'm not. I kinda like it here. And it seems like that you might need help.
Great. Just great.
You know, I kind of feel like that. We were becoming great friends over the last few weeks. I like that. And it actually gives me warmth in my heart, my cold heart, that there's somebody in this world that I can relate to, that could care about me, that could be a friend.
Well, since you're staying around, I figured that you can help me with my next review.
What's that? What the hell is that?
You're not the only one that can do spooky shit.
What the hell?
And you can help me with the next hint for my next review.